What's going on, you all? Welcome to the next episode of the Prophletics Podcast. I'm your host, of course, Coach Reese Monitor Tubarao, known in the Capoeira world. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe before I get into these glorious topics I have for the week. And listen, turn on your notification bells too. I appreciate you all. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for 4,000 subscribers. I appreciate you all greatly. Every single one of you. I'm working hard to make sure that I provide quality content to you all. And I'm enjoying this journey. I'm enjoying this process. Getting a little bit more comfortable behind the camera. You know, that's a new thing for me as far as shooting content and shooting it consistently. I'm enjoying the process thus far. You got any suggestions on things that you want to see? Drop them below in the comments. What happened to men just wanting to be men in the fitness world? So much of the fitness industry at this current point in time and time before, don't get me wrong, has become so much about aesthetic and looks. And yeah, it's disgusting to a certain point. The reason I say that is because we're getting away from, one, what the body is supposed to be used for, two, certain accolades of what we should actually achieve with our human body. If it were up to me personally, I would leave the pageantry and the aesthetics and the looks and all that stuff to those who should have it. And to me, that is the women. And if this sounds sexist or whatever the case may be, it is what it is. However, I have no issue personally with women wanting to have and acquire a certain look, you know, and making their workout segments and their goals more focused towards the aesthetic and the look and the pageantry of it. With us men, for some reason, it has become that same comparative factor. I've witnessed men, and I've had men who have come to me for training and said that they didn't want to lift heavy. They wanted to stay smaller and lift lighter and be a finesser or, you know, they don't want to be strong. There was one guy who just said he just basically doesn't want to be strong. They're in fear of bulking up and becoming Schwarzenegger. Listen, that's not the way that this works. If you want to be Schwarzenegger, you got to get on the steroids. And a nice high quality dose of steroids and the top tier stuff. When you lift heavier weights, gentlemen, you are not going to bulk up beyond your body's natural capability to do so. Steroids and PEDs take you beyond your body's natural capability. What happens with you guys is you put on some nice lean quality muscle tissue. Lean depending. You put on muscle tissue. Lean and all of those terms are always pending your nutrition. The things that you call bulking up or the illusion that you call bulking up is you putting on fat on top of the muscle because your diet and your nutrition is absolute trash. That's what you guys are considering bulking up. That's what you guys are thinking is going to naturally happen when you lift heavier weights. That's not what happens. You guys are supposed to be strong. Don't focus on what the ladies focus on. Let them take the perfect pictures. Let them do all the pageantry. We need to get back to being warriors, strong, protectors, skilled. We got away from our natural instinct of what we should be. And we've started getting into the pageantry of things. This is why I personally am not a fan of bodybuilding. Because how this happened was back in whatever 70s, 60s, 50s, whenever the Flex magazines and the Muscle and Fitness magazines and all of those magazines started putting out their content in magazines, what became the forefront of what fitness should look like and what fitness should be was these bodybuilders, or were the bodybuilders, right? The bodybuilders who were in that shape that they only get in for a small amount of time. Don't forget they're only in that shape for that small amount of time. And that small amount of time I'm talking about is when they get on stage. After they get off stage, it's over with. Before they get on stage, it's over with. And they got all this fake tan, spray tan, glossy stuff on and all this stuff too. So you have been told that in order for you to be fit, that you have to be a trophy. And don't forget about a bodybuilder's performance or lack thereof. A bodybuilder's job is to strip their body fat down to unhealthy, low hormone, dangerously low hormone body fat. And then they'll dry out. So they're on the stage in a condition called dry, which is why their muscles striate, and when they grab their skin or whatnot, it takes forever for it to reabsorb into their body. They are actually in the worst possible health shape when they're on stage. And for some reason, you have been told that that is the pinnacle of fitness. That's what you're supposed to go find. That's what you're supposed to go do. It's not reality, y'all. It's not sustainable. We have to get back to actually being able to conquer all 4 pillars of fitness. There are 4 pillars of fitness. It is strength, endurance, mobility, and flexibility. Without either one of those, you are not considered fit. This is information that you can go look up. It's not something that I just made up. Without any of those pillars, strength, endurance, mobility, flexibility. Without those, you're not fit. Fellas, we have to get back on it, okay? We got to get back on it. Not only should you be strong, but you should also be skilled. If I could add to that pillar, especially for the fellas, if I could add to that pillar, I would also add skilled. Because for some reason, every guy who thinks that they hit the weight room hard or whatever the case may be, thinks that they can defend themselves. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. You still have to have the skill to defend yourself. And there are neurological adaptations that need to be made from transferring that strength from the strength training to your skills training. See, there's a lot of loopholes right here. There's a lot more technicality to it, and then rather than what's put out in here in the fitness industry based on the looks, based on, man, I look like I'm in shape, so yeah, I'm good to go. Until somebody grabs you, until somebody threatens your family. And then what are you going to do? A front double bicep pose? Or do you have the skill enough to go along with the strength, the endurance, the flexibility, and mobility to disarm and disengage any threat that has just been presented to your family? Somebody comes up to your wife and kids in the store and disrespects them, grabs them. What are you going to do then? Your bench press ain't going to help you there if you haven't learned how to translate that strength into a skill. It's too much of that aspect of just looking like something. Fellas have become just as concerned with the aesthetics as women, and I wish it would have never happened. I learned from my mistakes, not with the situation that I just brought up with the conflict or whatnot, but when I first started boxing. When I first started boxing, I was 23. So the prior maybe 4 years of weight training or whatnot, I was straight bodybuilding style. I thought I could go in there and handle myself. This 140 guy lit me the hell up, lit me up bad. And that's when I really started putting things together like, man, this doesn't translate into this. Now, can you put both together? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are some aspects of the bodybuilding weight training that can go along with the skills training, but I would prefer you guys focus on the strength training aspect to go along with the skills aspect. So I don't care if it's boxing, capoeira, I don't care if it's mixed martial arts, I don't care if it's kickboxing solo, I don't care what it is that you do over here. There is some form of strength training that correlates with that. You've got to get back to it, fellas. We have to get back to it. We got away from what really counts, okay? Next in the fitness industry, listen. This one goes to you all who, for some odd reason, let me just say it like this. The body that you want versus what that body weighs don't match. You got to choose one, okay? You got to choose one. The body that you want does not weigh what you think it should weigh. You all get so close to goals, so close to the fitness goal that you aspire to attain. And then you go look at the scale and you tell yourself you're too heavy, you're too fat. You're like, but you're losing body fat. This is where the body recomposition factor comes in. You may weigh the exact freaking same the entire process, but you're not really watching how much body fat you're losing. So therefore, when you jump on the scale, let's say you were 170 and let's say 50 pounds of you is body fat, right? So let's say you started your journey there and you jumped on the scale and you weighed 170. You kept going, tightened up your nutrition, lifted weights like you're supposed to, added muscle tissue because you have to add muscle tissue to burn body fat. I don't care what everybody else is talking about. You can go argue with whoever cares, not me. Then 2 months later, you still weigh 170. However, the measurement that is missing is, what did I tell you a second ago? You originally had 120 pounds of muscle tissue and 50 pounds of body fat. Now guess what? You're 130 pounds of muscle tissue and 40 pounds of body fat. So when you look in the mirror, your body is starting, and this for women, you look in the mirror and your body's starting to do this. Or for men, your body's starting to shape up. But this is where you whoop your own ass. You go over to that scale, it still says 170, and you abort everything that you just did. You abort the fact that you were going forward in your process and your progress, and now you're headed back the other way. Why? Because you're comparing yourself to somebody. Comparison is killing you all. You're turning on this damn internet, and then you're finding some guy who looks like you want to look, or you're finding some girl who looks like you want to look, and you're comparing your weight to theirs. Not considering body types, not considering the fact that you're an endo or a meso or an ecto, and you may be looking at somebody with an entirely different body type. You slap yourself in the face with that every single time. Stop doing that. You're going to be you. You're going to be no more than the best version of yourself. If you're following internet pages that makes you feel insecure like that, unfollow them. Unfollow them. You guys have to understand that this is an individual process and an individual process alone. This is why I don't even encourage workout partners, because when you get an ecto with a meso or a meso with an endo, the comparison factor is always going to be there. They want to lift the same weight or look the same or feel the same. It's not there. This is a solo process. Okay? Stop deviating from what works. That is called body recomp. I'll break it down again. 170. Let's say the woman starts at 170. You've got to get your body fat measured, okay? That's what's really kicking you all's butts. You got to get your body fat measured. Even if you get the calipers yourself and you want to go the shortcut, the cheat route or whatever, I'll give it to you. Grab the calipers and just do your skin fold right there, wherever. And you're going to measure the same skin fold at all times. You can get the calipers on Amazon or maybe some sporting goods store or whatever, but I prefer just getting it online. So the calipers is a pinch tool. So it's a pinch tool that pinches your skin fold. So wherever you find that skin fold, maybe 2 or 3 places. The original tests go from 7 to 9 spots, and it's all down the same side of the body. So get you a pair of calipers, do your skin fold, and measure yourself there. So it's going to measure in millimeters, or whatever the case may be. So you get your measurement, and then you measure yourself there every 2 weeks. Keep going and watch how slow the scale actually goes down. You all are so freaking scale focused. Nobody gives a damn what you weigh. All right? It's just a conversation piece when you go out with your friends. And none of them are going to ask you what you weigh. What do they always say? Oh, you look good. Oh, you look like you're taking care of yourself. Oh, you look like you're in good shape. Nobody asks what you weigh. Nobody asks what you bench. That's not it. You're doing the right thing in the first place. So yes, you may weigh the same thing for a matter of months because you are supposed to add muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is a metabolically active tissue. The more muscle tissue you have, the more your body burns calories during the workout and during rest and recovery. That is the process that you guys are trying to avoid. Stop trying to avoid that. Like I said, if you're at 170, get your body fat measured. Measure the body fat, find out how much of you is body fat, okay? If 120 pounds of you is muscle tissue and 50% or 50 pounds of you is body fat, aim to reduce that number and aim to reduce it small. 120 flips into 122, which leaves 48. And then there's 125, that leaves 45. You have to take the small increments and then you can go to the scale if you want to. What I found with my clients is a lot of them waist go in. All of them are doing body recomp right now. They might not know it, but they're doing body recomp because why? Their clothes fit smaller, looser, they're getting more shapely, and then they still weigh similar. But you all get so doggone focused on the number on the scale that it's ridiculous. And you're killing yourself doing that. All because you want to walk around and say something. Why does everything have to be spoken like that? Why should all your results have to be spoken? They should be able to see it and that's it. They'll give you your acknowledgement. If you got to go out here and say it, it's not really worth it. They'll see it, they'll say it, they'll acknowledge it. They'll give you your acknowledgments when they see your development. You don't have to go out here and say, oh, guess what? I wasted. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Here's another struggle that I see that a lot of people go through in the fitness industry. And it comes with married couples or people who are coupling together, couples in general. And this goes back to all of the body types that I brought up with you guys. What if you're a meso in a couple with an ecto, or an ecto with an endo, or an endo with a meso? Guess what, people? Guess what? As much as you want to eat the same and all that stuff, you can't. You cannot. So family dinners need to look a lot different when it comes to fitness. Everybody having the same size plate, everybody having the same size portions. Nope. There's no way that the endo should have the same amount of carb portions as the meso, and the meso should not have the amount of carb portions as the ecto. Like everybody's plate, let's say for me for instance, I have a wife, I have a son and a daughter. They're basically ectos. Me, I'm a meso. I cannot consume the amount of carbs that they consume unless it's within my realm of my fitness tracking, because I track my macros. So if I ate fewer carbs earlier that day, then I may be able to have a heavier carb meal in the evening or whatever the case may be. Let's say my wife makes some sort of spaghetti or something. I may be able to eat that. And then there are nights that I can't. This is that game, y'all. This is a game of precision. This is not, I just ate what the wife cooked or whatever the case may be. Then you need to have a conversation with your wife. Hey, babe, I love you. I'm trying to improve myself. I want to be around here for the long haul. In order for me to take care of myself and not be fat and overweight and still be performative for you, I can't eat this. There are men who won't do that. Women, you need to do that too. If your man is the type of guy who is just going to eat whatever, you have to have that conversation. These are hard conversations that need to be had. I can't eat that. I love you, but I can't eat that. Or I can't eat as much as that. Or of as much of that as you are. Or it might just be something on the plate that you can't eat, period. Everybody's journey is different. And everybody's trying to, especially in the family household, everybody's trying to just make it one single unified approach. It's not, and it never will be. It's not, it never will be, and you need to make sure that you have those conversations. Otherwise, don't complain. Like, it negates your ability to complain if you're not going to do the right things about it. This is the right thing about it. What do you need to, and you know what you need to eat, and you'll do it all day while you're away from the house, and then when you get home, you'll deviate. You'll do everything outside of what you need to do. If you can't create that environment at home, then you've got a bigger issue. Yeah, you might have to eat something completely different than everybody else. They might have the spaghetti or whatever the case may be, and here you go with ground turkey, brown rice, broccoli, and avocado. So, get over yourself. It's for your health benefit, and your health is primary. Everybody has a problem until they have a health problem. Then when the health problem comes in, all the other problems disappear. Something for you to think about, man. Like, hopefully I gave you some information and some game there as to where you understand clearly, one, how corrupt the fitness industry is, and two, how individualized your approach is supposed to be. I've said this before. I'll always say it over and over again because I deem it highly important, all right? Let's get into this boxing, man. Let's get into the boxing. Man, I want to get into how corrupt professional boxing is, especially in the early stages, and I'm sure it's even deeper in the later stages, versus amateur boxing. Amateur boxing is way more professional than pro boxing. Amateur boxing won't let you do any corruption. They'll be on top of it. Listen, when people first turn pro, going pro in the fights, let me explain something, because I've been around the pro scene and I've been around the amateur scene. In the pros, for people's first fights, I hate to say it like this, but it's the truth. People go find their fighters, right? So they go on BoxRec. And people who are the A side, the red, actually pay for the B side, the blue. So the person who's on the B side is actually a paid person who is projected to lose. Why? Because the A side went on BoxRec, found a fighter on BoxRec with a losing record, because they do this. They'll go find somebody who's 0-21 who's been knocked out 17 times. And what they'll do is they'll contact this person's manager and say, hey, we've got $500 for them to come down here, $500 for their pocket. We'll pay for their lodging, their hotel, and their travel if they come take this fight. You know what they'll do? They'll take it. They'll take it. There are paid journeymen out here to take losses. Now, some of the B sides come up to try to upset the A side. However, a lot of times it's less than likely. So the person who has on the red gloves and in the red corner is the A side. The person who has on the blue gloves and the blue corner is the B side. 9 times out of 10, it's the paid fighter. Look at the earlier fights of any pro fighter. You don't even know who that person is on the B side. Name Floyd Mayweather's first 10 fights. Roy Jones' first 10 fights. The only people who I respect who kind of came up with their first 10 fights pretty solid, or the only person at this point in time, was Vasily Lomachenko. He came up to her. He didn't want the easy fights. He wanted titles. He wanted to come straight up with it. So there's a build-up process that happens on the A side where, yeah, they go buy their fighter. They pay their fighter. So when somebody says, oh, I'm about to go pro, or I'm going pro, whatever the case may be, understand that, one, they have to have a budget, because you got to buy that fighter. You got to buy him. So you got to buy that person who's going to come out there and probably take a loss. That's why they look so different. This is why those undercards don't get shown. Those undercards, not the prelim fights, don't really get shown on TV, because you'll see such a mismatch. You'll see this person over here looking like they're in great shape and like they've been boxing for years and fighting for years. Then you see this big sloppy body over here. Person who doesn't look like they fought a day in their life. corruption, man, in the pros. So when somebody says they're getting ready to go pro, don't make it this big, magnanimous, grand scheme of things. They got some building to do. They got some buying to do. They got some budgeting to do, right? So how does that person ever get to the top and pinnacle? It gets tough only when and only after this person who's A side has to meet the other person who's been doing the same thing on the A side. And this usually happens between fights maybe 15 to 17 after they get done buying their fighters. And this goes on in all the pros. This is where the negotiations and all the stuff comes in. So this person has a padded record of 10-0 or 15-0. And then let's imagine red over here too. This person has a padded record of 15-0. They've been fighting, bought fighters with losing records for who knows how long. And now it's the battle of the padded records to find out who's the authentic. So now, boom, whichever one wins moves on to the next level of promiscuity. The other one usually disappears to the distance, becomes maybe a B or C class fighter, a gatekeeper for the division, maybe. If you fight this fighter, then you've proven that you could actually fight in the division. But this person moves on. So yes, it is a lot of padded record situations going on in the pros. So don't be surprised. Go to your local pro show. Go to your local pro show and size it up. Look at it. Does that person in the B side or on the B side actually look like they were supposed to be there on fighting that person on the A side? I've seen fights. The last pro fight I went to was like 2 years ago locally. And those guys from the A side will fly out here. Well, they flew from like the Vegas area, the Arizona area, wherever the case may be, out here to fight the B-side fighter that they, wanted to go ahead and put on their record because they want to build that record up. When them jokers came here, they looked like pros. They even had the nice, flashy, fancy, glittery rhinestone pants and all that stuff, the shorts or whatever the case may be, had the shimmy things hanging from their shoulders or whatnot. They looked like they had some money. You got to pay to play. You got to pay to play. So they came out here to get their W's and fly back to Vegas to pad that record, or Arizona to pad that record. It's a lot of record padding. So in order to go to the pros and do what you got to do, you got to pay to play. You got to pay to play. So don't be amused by somebody's first 7, 8, maybe 10 pro fights. They're bought. They're bought. It's just the way the business works. It is what it is. You can look into it yourself if you want to. You can ask pros if you want to. It is what it is. So I wanted to address that when it came to the pro boxing scene, because people tend to put that on a hierarchy or whatnot. And the amateurs, that ain't happening. One, you ain't paying nobody. Two, there's no money in the amateurs. The top goal that you can seek in the amateurs is going to the Olympics. That is the end-all, be-all in amateur boxing. State, regional, national, world. Olympics. You're not going to sit there and get paired up with somebody who has lesser fights than you, or you're going to always fight somebody within your range. You're always going to fight somebody within your weight level or whatever the case may be. There's no room for fluctuation in the amateurs. The amateurs are way more. USA Boxing is way more professional than professional boxing. So know that when it comes to professional boxing. And the process of becoming a professional boxer does not require you to go to the Olympics. It doesn't require you to go to the Worlds. It doesn't require you to go to nationals. It doesn't require you to go to regionals. It doesn't even require you to be a champion in your state. There is no tier. You could be a pro boxer right now. You can go to your state or go online to your state's sports governing body, pay your pay your fee, application fee, fill out the application, and you'll get a pro license. I think in Alabama, about 6 years ago, it was like $25. $25. So let's add inflation. $50, you can be named a pro fighter. And that's what everybody's doing it for more so than the skill right now. It's the name, because everybody wants to look more important than what they are. Most people don't have the skills to go pro and be effective. It's like buying a blue check mark on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or whatever the case may be. They want to look more important than what they actually are. That ain't it. $25, 6 years ago, you could be a pro fighter. MMA, boxing, whatever the case may be. I don't know what it looks like in other states or whatnot, but here in Alabama, that's what it was. So you can buy what your mouth is telling people. Oh, I'm a pro fighter. Oh, how many amateur fights you had? Oh, man, how many pro fights you had? Oh, man, I ain't had nothing. Yeah, because you got to go DoorDash and Uber and get your coins up and do some overtime to buy some fighters. And then you can still go out there and get cleaned up. People rush to go pro. People rush to go pro because it sounds cool. Boy. What a world we live in, right? So hopefully I just, myth busted for you a lot of myths that you probably did not know about. So listen, from fitness to boxing, I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. I have nothing to touch on Capoeira-wise, except for the fact that I'll be having my third Batizado in June. So I believe it's June 14th, the weekend of June 14th or whatnot. But yes, 14th through the 17th, I believe it is. The Batizado is a graduation ceremony and celebration of my students. So that's where I'm at with that. When it comes to Capoeira, let me go ahead and touch on it really quick. I'm going to tell you about a mistake I made first, okay? A mistake I made was I looked at every other capoeirista instead of looking at me. I looked at their body types, the way that they moved or whatever the case may be, and I didn't consider their body types, but I looked at them, they were thinner, smaller, and more mobile and flippy and tricky and all this stuff, and I thought I had to be that. That was a huge mistake because I spent years trying to lose a stupid amount of weight because I did not consider body types. I saw that they were smaller, thinner, and trimmer, and that I thought that in order to be an effective capoeirista, I needed to be smaller, thinner, and trimmer. Nope. I'm 6'2", 215 pounds. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be the most effective capoeirista at 215 pounds, 6'2". Stop looking at everybody else. That was my last treacherous trick, was looking at them. I'm not about to be out here backflipping. I'm 46 years old. I'm not about to be out here I'm about to be 46 years old. I'm 45. I'm not about to be out here backflipping and tricking. Okay? Hope you like this podcast. Sorry about that. Sheesh. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next episode.